I went to the School of the Arts for high school, and this is a very different trajectory from that, but started to get interested in politics while I was there. And so as my interest in my art was waning, my interest in politics was increasing. And I started working on campaigns when I was 16 at the School of the Arts. I realized that most politicians were also lawyers, and so that seemed like an interesting path to take. And so that kind of is what got me started on going to law school and my interest in law school. From there, I felt like I was really fulfilled by my practice. I was in private practice and I really enjoyed it, and I felt like I was providing a good service, but I felt like I could provide even more of a service to more people and impact more people by running for office and becoming a district court judge. That so many people come into the courtrooms, that it's a significantly greater population that I could impact than when I was in private practice, and that I could seek to have some sort of positive impact on them through serving as a judge. For me, so when I was elected in 2016, and my chief at the time was our first female chief district court judge, was Lisa Menifee. And so in thinking about female role models, she, and then not too terribly long after that, or I guess shortly before that, Sherry Beasley became our Chief Justice for the Supreme Court. And those two women in particular have been role models for me. Justice Beasley served as a district court judge in Cumberland County prior to ever going on to the Supreme Court. And she, at some points, had talked about when she was campaigning being pregnant and then having her twins and campaigning for office. And that really rang true to me because I was pregnant in 2020 when I was sitting on the bench and then running for re-election. And so those two women charting that path, being moms on the bench and doing those things before me were real role models for me. And I miss them. Justice Beasley enacted family leave for the judicial branch, and there was no family leave at all for staff, so regular staff that are employees of the judicial branch. And I can remember when that rolled out, I was talking to one of my colleagues who was a male and who has since retired and who I love dearly and miss, but he said, "I don't know why that's necessary." And I just remember thinking, thank God we have women in places that are making these decisions. And that's why I think, that's so important to have more women in more places, because without Sherry Beasley as the Chief Justice, or without women in these other places where they're able to make decisions that impact so many people, we wouldn't have those things. And we would still have people who are nice and sweet and kind, and I miss saying things like, "I just don't know why that's necessary." And I did try to explain that it's very much necessary, and you telling me it's unnecessary is why it's necessary. I don't know that message ever was received or connected, but it was, moments like that where I just was like, thank goodness that she is there. Thank goodness we have these women in these other places. I do think that there are challenges for women lawyers. I think there are challenges for women judges. Which is unfortunate, and I certainly think they've gotten better, but I don't think that they have been overcome, and I think that the only way to change that is for people to continue to see women lawyers and women judges, and that until that is a norm, that there will continue to be barriers and continue to be difficulties for people to overcome. And I think sometimes what I have also experienced is that people don't realize that the comments that they're making, are gender bias. I mean, I think in particular, there was a very sweet woman when I was running in 2016 who asked me if I had considered a more mature nail color, and that she thought that would really go a long way with voters. And I 100% believe that she thought she was giving me the best advice. And I just remember saying, thank you so much. That's certainly something I will take into consideration. I've never had anybody tell me that I was not a good judge because of my nail color, or that I was a bad judge because of my nail color. And it was 100% a comment, that I think, like, no one is telling my male colleagues this. And also, what does this have to do with anything? But I don't think she was being mean. I really think that she thought, and that's an incident where I think, like, this is a very deep-rooted kind of thing, and nail color is silly, but it's just silly to happen. I think thinking about that kind of like legacy piece in the context of Women's History Month, it makes me think. I had a individual come to me not terribly long ago and tell me that I didn't look like a judge. And I said, that's because judges just look different these days. And so I think that, to me, that legacy is that people that are coming in can see that judges look different these days. And that you can be a judge because judges all look a little bit different.